Welcome, everyone. Welcome or welcome back to Yes, I'm a Unicorn, where we talk about things productivity, planning, systems based. We talk about a lot of fun stuff. So, if that interests you, then keep on watching because today we're talking about my index card system. Well, one of my index card systems, which I'm really excited about. And also, I want to give a shout out to my sister, my other half of my co-host with our podcast, our show that we do called Somebody's Cousins. So you may know me from that. If you do, hello. But mostly on this Yes, I'm a Unicorn channel, we talk about like the planning stuff and just, you know, whatever makes sense to me to talk about. And for the most part, it's things productivity or supplies or things like that. So this is actually we're gonna talk about sort of like one of the setups that I use for index cards. However, this is not my only setup, but it is a very useful system. So, I'll give you a little background. I don't remember when I started. We've used index cards our entire lives. Like, I feel like I've used index cards since I was in like the fourth grade or the first grade, I think. Um, but not recently, I want to say about 10 years ago, I probably started using index cards on a more regular basis, just for sorting out my thoughts. It was probably right around the time that I learned about Zettelkasten. Now, what I'm doing is not necessarily that. It's not that actually, though. I have much respect for, Nicholas Lumen and whoever you know did it well, but that's not what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about a different kind of setup. Now, before we get started, I just want to point out the fact that I just did a YouTube short that I haven't uploaded yet. And part of the series that I'm doing right now is for my YouTube shorts is that I'm knocking out all the excuses that I normally use not to post, and pushing past that and posting anyway. And one of the excuses normally is, oh, well, I have to clean this place up. It looks a wreck in here. So you'll notice it looks a wreck in here. You can see like bins of stuff. I think that's like one of the things I keep my fingernail polish remover and stuff in. And I had to put it up high because my son can't reach it up there. And then there's some other stuff up there. I think it's a makeup bag and something else. But like, yeah, normally I would have used that either as an excuse not to film, or I would have spent some time removing it so that, oh my God, nobody sees how messy this looks. But I'm not doing that. I think that it's important to just be consistent and use the time that I have to do the thing that I came to do. And today is not an organizing day. So that's going to have to stay there for a little while until I get to it, probably sometime tomorrow or Monday. Anyway, I just wanted to address it because I can see it and it's kind of like, I don't say it's bothering me, but it's just like I want to let you guys know that I see that and I know that's there, and I see some stuff that looks crazy in the background, and I know it's there, but I just decided that it wasn't important enough to put in front of what I'm coming here to talk to you about today. So anyway, now that we got that first rant out of the way, I want to talk more about um that's actually pretty relevant because when I started using this index card system, um well, be back up just a little tiny bit. Index cards for me have always been useful in the way of making my thoughts physical. So, like, there's all these distractions around us all the time. Your phone's going off, you got to check your email. At this particular point in my life, I was working in the office mainly, and there was always somebody walking past my desk, being polite, saying hello, or asking me something about the work that we were doing. And so there's always, that sort of distraction. There's always just distractions from just, you know, everywhere you are. Especially now that we carry phones in our pockets. Like, this is a totally different way of life than, we grew up living, where you have a computer in your pocket or on your desk, and Like there's always something to look up. There's always something to check. There's always something, some question that you want answered that you can just, look in your phone and get lost in it. And at this particular point in my life where I kind of reintroduced index cards, I want to say it was around 2015, 2016, and I just remembered, like, this is just what I remember from that part of my life. There were several things that I wanted to organize, and there were several thoughts and ideas that I would have, and I would just pull out an index card. It was so low stakes, it was so accessible. This is also around the time where I was heavy into bullet journaling too. I still love bullet journaling. But unfortunately, and this is not even what it was designed to do, but sometimes bullet journaling can be somewhat overwhelming for me because I'm one of those people who wants my notebook to be sort of aesthetic. Even though the creator of the method, Ryder Carroll, does not even promote that. He actually wants it to be more of a like a it's not a productivity tool. It's more like a mindfulness tool is the way that he puts it, or a mindfulness practice. But unfortunately, I've got caught in the wave of the aesthetic folks, bullet journalers, and I like to use my markers and my stickers and my washi tape, and I want my pages to look a certain way, and that used to stop me you know, from writing in my bullet journal, unfortunately, and that's not even the way that it was designed, but that's unfortunately what happened for me, right? And it's on my own, it's my own doing. Because I could totally just, and I have, just scribble sometimes in your notebook. It doesn't need to be perfect, but in your mind, sometimes it gets in the way. And so index cards for me have always been just really low stakes ways to like take notes, ask questions, organize my thoughts. So I'll just start there and just tell you a few ways that I use them. A lot of times I will, whatever's popped up in my mind, right? Like, oh, I need to make this doctor's appointment. Or, oh, I wonder, when this subscription comes off my credit card. Like these things that just pop up in my mind. And I always have an index card next to me or nearby. And I'll just, jot it out on an index card. Like these are my cards for today. This is my stack for today. And I'm in the practice now of creating at least 10 cards, I would say on average. I'd strive for 10. It's normally more than that, but just whatever thoughts I'm holding in my mind, whatever to-dos, tasks, projects, anything that's on my mind that I want to focus on that I don't want to lose like the thread on, I'll just write on an index card. And it doesn't even matter to me if I've written it on an index card the day before or a few weeks prior. Like I'll just write it down again because it's on my mind. And so it's just helpful for me. Um, like I said, low stakes. Sometimes the things that I end up writing on my index cards end up in other notebooks or planners, but it starts out with an index card because it doesn't really mean that much to me if I lose it or if I have to rewrite it, no big deal. Like it was important enough for me to capture, and so I did. And so anyway, um fast forward to, years later when a problem of mine then became what do I do with all these cards? And that honestly is a question that I still haven't fully answered because I still have like stacks of cards in places that they probably shouldn't be. But to me, it doesn't really matter because there's the work that I try to do always gets done. So like whatever I'm setting out to do, like whatever I have done with the cards has worked so far, knock on wood. Um, and I think it's partly because of just the writing things down helps you remember things. I remember hearing somebody say, it's probably my sister, like they wrote down their whole grocery list and then they left it at home. And then went to the grocery store and they ended up getting all the stuff that they wrote down anyway because they had just written it down. So it was like burned in their memory, right? So that's a thing that I appreciate is that I don't have any barriers to entry with using an index card, but I get the benefit as if I wrote it down in a notebook or somewhere, super important. And then just the main takeaway here, if I haven't said it already, is the index card for me represents my thought becoming physical. It's the first physical trace of my idea or thought. So much so that, um, that practice of mine of creating 10 index cards per day. I mean, I think it's been so beneficial to me over the years. I mean, I capture all types of stuff, things that you would probably put in a commonplace book, right? Quotes and notes and all things like that. But then I also put tasks and things in there too. So that's where it gets really good. And most recently, I've been doing watercolor and gouache on index cards. So I'll show you this. I'll just show it to the screen. It's like I'll take a stack of index cards and I'll just get out my gouache set, and it doesn't have to be pretty. I'll just do this, right? Or this, and then I'll go back later and I'll write on it, and I think it's just really cool. So first of all, it's a way for me to be creative and kind of de-stress. But then I have these cool looking index cards to use later, and they're only just for my viewing pleasure. So but anyway, recently I stumbled upon an old system from 2024, and it was so interesting for me to look at it because so many things that I had sort of charted out have now come to pass. And I just thought that was really cool because I'm like, okay, this is working. There's all these quirky little bits that we have about ourselves, and this is one of them for me. Like, I wouldn't, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I wouldn't have shown somebody this because it seems a little crazy. It seems a little crazy, lady, that you're just writing all this stuff on index cards. And what are you doing for the world? And you know, but it worked. It works for me, and so that's why you should just do what's on your heart, and then just run your experiment and let the test of time tell the story. So now we're gonna see what I was working on back in 2024, in the earlier part of the year, I think, maybe the middle part of the year, I don't remember. But there was a lot going on back then, guys. I was just thinking about it as I was working through, like, looking at it. I said, this is something that I should share on my channel. Um, Not only because it's useful, but because it worked, and because, well, that's the same thing. Because it's a point in time in my life that, I mean, wow, there was a lot going on. I had been pregnant at the time, and the pregnancy did not end well, right? It didn't end the way we wanted it to. Um, but later we were blessed with a child. And so, but as I look back through this, I don't really see a lot of evidence of that. And I wonder if it's because I took some of that stuff out, but I also wasn't journaling in this. It was just kind of like the things that I was working on, that was on my mind, and the things that I was working through. So maybe that's why it's not in there. And plus I use another one of these now, and I'm gonna get to it because we've been talking about it for about 12 minutes now. So I'm gonna get to it in a second. I'm gonna give you a top down view, but it was interesting to me to see some of the thoughts that I was holding in some of the projects that I was working on, many of which have come to pass and they are successful. So, with that said, let's look at this index card system and see what you guys think. Let's see if I can change the view. I don't know if you'll be able to see. Okay. No. All right. Well, let's see if I can just. Oh, maybe I can work it like that. I don't want to though. I'd rather look, guys, I'm still trying to figure this thing out. I think it'll work. I guess I have to work it like this. Because my thinking is that if I let me try something real quick because I don't want to. Okay. So this is so funny. You're working through my technical issues with me, okay? And I love you for that. Let's try. This is so funny. Okay, so there we go. I think that'll do it. Yeah, okay, cuz listen guys, I'm using a software called StreamYard and I didn't want to lose the sound. So I didn't want to take myself off the what do they call it, the stage. But anyway, we got that all worked out. So anyway, listen guys, this is my system. I'm so glad we're here. This is my system from 2024. So many of the things you're going to see in here have either already come to pass or I have a different or and some things I may have taken out of here and put in the one that I'm using now, which I'm not going to flip through because there's a lot of like personal detail information in there that I don't want to share right now, but hey, who knows? Once we get to know each other better, maybe I'll be willing to share that with you. But I just want to point out that this is one of those photo books. I have another version right here. I think I got these from Hobby Lobby. Now, this is another one that I'm using, but basically they come it's a 4x6 photo book. And I think there's like 200 slots in here. Let me look in here and make sure there's nothing I don't. Yeah, I can't show you this one, the inside of it, but I just want to show you, what it looks like. It's a photo book from Hobby Lobby. I'm sure you can get them from any like craft store or maybe even Amazon. Um, and I don't know the brand, but it's just this is what it looks like. Um, can't show you the inside, like I said. Yeah, and I don't think I shared anything, but that's what this is, but this one does not have the plastic on it because it's old and who knows what happened to that. But it's a great tool to use for these 4x6 index cards. And I just put these here because these are two that I've recently written. Um, this is the type of stuff that I capture on index cards. We got one that just has a Bible verse, and then another one that has an idea that I didn't want to lose sight of. You don't have to see the finish line to start building the road. Oh, actually, that's it kind of relates. Okay, to Hebrews 11:1. Your daily actions reveal what you truly believe is possible. Oh yeah, because I've been doing a lot of study on like faith is a mustard seed and stuff like that, and like what it means to have faith, and that's part of some studying that I'm doing. But that was an idea, right? I was like, oh man, I don't want to forget this verse. I don't want to forget what I'm thinking about relating to this verse. And so I captured it on an index card. Now that's probably going to make its way into the system that I'm currently using. But then this is another card, and this isn't. I mean, this has nothing on it, but let's see. I'm going to share with you like other things too, but typically, you know, I'll just write down whatever's on my mind. Sometimes it's a to-do list and a messy handwriting like that. And I dare not ever come. Listen to me. I would never do this in my bullet journal. Okay. That is crazy. And this is the problem that I have, right? That's why index cards are great. Okay. So now that we've spent all that time, let's open it up. So this is from 2024. I was asking myself, what are your priorities in this quarter? Commonplace book meets action plan. And that's essentially what I suppose I had designed this to do. There were just ideas that I didn't want to lose sight of. I had bought these stickers that had numbers on them so I could keep track of like what slots were which, because sometimes I'll just reference a slot in my planner. Or, if I happen to be using a notebook or a bullet journal in a specific area, um, uh, that's why I did that. But I used it for a little while. I do remember writing numbers on my planner, like, oh yeah, this is slot 46. Like, go back to slot 46, and it has more information. You can't fit everything in your planner, but you can look back at the index cards that you built. And these, you can see this is actually some of that what is it called? It's like cardstock or something. that you get from the what do you call it, the craft store, and I just cut it to size. And it's just something fun to look at, right? Like, but most of them have index cards in them. But anyway, okay, here we go. This is where we're gonna do this flip through. Um, and again, I'll get into it in a little while of like why I chose to do it this way, but we're just going to look at what's in there. Don't let the day take you is really one of those quotes. It came from something that I heard from Jim Rohn, which was he was explaining in one of his talks about like you just don't know where it all went. Yeah, we'd like to have you run somebody's company. You don't know where the time went, you don't know where the money went, and it's like so funny to me. So it makes me think about something that I say to myself all the time. Either take the day or let the day take you. And having something like this where I can store like ideas, priorities, tasks, things that come up in my mind, it lessens the probability that I'm going to let the day take me. And we all know what that feels like, I think. I would think some of us, most of us probably do. Um, it's just like, you wake up with an idea or a plan, an idea of a plan that the way your day is going to go, and then the day takes shape, and then you kind of forget and you let the day take you, and then you're looking up and it's 9 o'clock and you didn't get anything done, and you don't remember what you were trying to do. And that is what I wanted to remember. Don't let the day take you. And I still love looking at that. And as we flip through this, you'll see that I make really good use of post-it notes as well, because sometimes I don't have the time or I don't want to take something out, and I'll just add on a post-it note. Um, and I have a little note here on mindset and work ethic. Um, just little thoughts and things. And these are my priorities for Q2 of 2024, um, which is really funny because, yeah, things have evolved since then. So, um, these things are all considered successful. I'll say that. I did a good job with these things. Okay. And partly because I had those things top of mind, right? So this is where my index cards would go when I had the ones that you write out all the things. Let's say you make 10 cards a day. You maybe won't keep them all, but the ones that were important you'll keep. Notes to myself, rituals, like, and this is stuff that like I just wanted to have in front of me. It's like I'm not gonna forget to wake up and go use the bathroom or brush my teeth. Like that's, kind of settled into me. But there were times where I would wake up and sit on the edge of the bed and be like, I know there's a bunch of stuff that I told myself that I should do as soon as I get up in the morning. So I decided to just write it down. And yeah, and that's kind of like my morning ritual. Like for the most part, not every single day I do everything, but having written it down helped me to create habits. And having reviewed it so many times, also got some stuff in here on gym, fitness, and a vision for fitness. More fitness cards, more post-it notes. Um, this one is I'm building something amazing. That the little ones like that are so fun to make, because part of it when you are creating the card is that you're really, pouring out your heart. And then when you see it on the card and it's now your idea is physical, then you review it and then it starts to become more and more real. So I'm building something amazing, and I am. And this is back in 2024. So this is really interesting. Um, let's see. These are just, some of these are just decor, and some of them I may have taken certain cards out and put them into a new book, because at some point I stopped using this system and started using something else. And then at another point in 2025, I made a whole new book, right? Like this, but it's not this book. It's the one that I have is over here. But like I said, I'm not going to show that today. Okay, this is something that I had said to myself. I'm willing to work hard and put all my ideas and effort in. Okay, so I don't know if that was something that oh, okay, I see. It's not that I'm so extraordinary. It's just that I'm willing to work hard and put all my ideas and effort in, and I'm willing to practice 100 times before presenting. Okay, so that was definitely something that I had thought to myself. But these are just little notes that I made to myself. Um, my Sunday setup list I see here, and I had tallied out how many minutes it would take me. Because if you know me, listen, I'm all about this idea that, like, look, you have 1,000 minutes in the day, and less, people have more or less than that, right? Like, not everybody wakes up early. Not everybody, has that type of schedule. And a lot of us have already bartered away a lot of all of our minutes, like, for jobs, right? I spend probably about a good 5 to 600 minutes on my job on a daily basis. And I know that because I tracked it. Doesn't that sound weird? But it was helpful for me to know that because I wanted to know how I was utilizing those minutes and I wanted to have a cutoff. I wanted to say, look, if I spend between 5 and 600 minutes at work, I need those to work for me so that when I cut off, I can cut off and say, I gave it everything. And so a lot of these you'll see like a minute count, like, okay, 940 minutes left. So I always say you have 1,000 minutes of the day. How are you using them? And that derives from like something that I used to do which, honestly, I don't even know if I really wanna go into it because I don't really think it's the most, like, healthy in terms of, like, tracking all your minutes, like, look, it gets to be a bit much, but I did learn something from that point in my life when I was doing that. The first thing is don't fill up all your minutes with a plan, like, it's rarely ever gonna go to plan. There were a few days there where I hit everything. It wasn't like right minute for minute, but like, they would be like things like Thanksgiving Day, where I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna start on this, then I'm gonna put the mac and cheese in, then I'm gonna come back and do this. And those were the days that everything pretty much went to whatever plan that I made for the minutes. But for the most part, it never works out. Like I don't ever it never works out completely the way that you think it does. But 1,000 minutes to me is just a reminder that, like, okay, you have agency, you have, you know, some control over how you spend your time, and this is how, right? So, one thing I think it was like at 9 o'clock in the morning. There's 900 minutes left until midnight. So, listen, if that helps you, you're welcome. But anyway, so if you see me, jotting out like numbers of minutes, like they're estimates of like how long is it gonna take me to do this? This is I don't know why I did this, but this was like a master bathroom cleaning list. I think I was trying to break things down and say, okay, maybe I don't need to clean the whole bathroom every week. Maybe I can just do like four things, like two things a day or four things three times a week. And, it'll all get done. So I kind of like wrote down, like, what does it take for the bathroom to be clean? This is so funny to look and see like the stuff that I was thinking about at that time. And then I have these little bookmarks and like paper clips just because I like that kind of stuff where I wanted to mark it and like come back to it. Um, this is the podcast that my husband and I do together. Is it crazy? Is it God? So there were certain things that I wanted to capture about that. Um, and let's see, fitness, exercise. Yeah, this was the year in 2024 where I shed like I think I lost like 32 pounds in like 4 months, and it was so great. It was amazing. And so I like this is why this is great because I can look back on this and see like what I tried. I was walking on an 8%. I was walking at 8-degree incline for 30 minutes, and then I would try to get my 10K steps in, and then I would do squats and lunges. Like I had this whole plan, and I was executing it too. But it was funny because it started with me writing it down, right? And it didn't. And that particular sort of ritual did not sustain itself, but like it started me out. That's what I needed to start out. I needed to write it down and see like what am I actually doing when I go to the gym, and then And then it evolved, and it ended with me successfully losing the weight that I wanted to lose. And then lo and behold, I found out later that year that I was pregnant with a beautiful son that we now love and cherish. So then I started gaining weight again. But it was good because I needed to, because I was pregnant. So anyway, the reading goals, um there's certain things that I needed to read for work that I made note of, business plans. And these are just really thoughts that I had to myself about research and um like the stuff that I was working on, projects with my sister. Uh, this is talking about clean eating. This is talking about looking good and feeling my best. I wanted to know more about women's health, because I'm a woman and I wanted to be healthy. Like it wasn't like I'm gonna start researching women's health. It was totally based on like, hey, what are the things that women go through that, like I think there were specific things that I wanted to know about my own health, but I made a card about it and I started researching it. But it all starts with a card, right? It's like I'm sitting there and I'm writing out these index cards. It's like whatever is on my mind. And then the ones that I really need to keep and hold on to, I do. And so, yeah, notes about tracking, notes about planning, notes about finances, the NACA program, which is like a home buying program, which we were in for a while, but it didn't work out with them. But we did become homeowners. So like all the work that we put in that program paid off. Um, but we didn't go through NACA eventually to get our home. Um, let's see, some thoughts and ideas about overcoming procrastination. And then sometimes I'll be listening to a podcast or something and I'll get some notes and I'll just maybe even put it on a post-it note, like I said earlier, and I'll just stick it right on top of whatever's relevant that's already in the book. So, um, yeah, get out of here, fly. I've got a little gnat over here. It's not even a fly. Okay, yeah. So now let's just flip on through. I got some errands in there that I needed to work on, offers. This is more just thoughts about minutes. Look, I can see how crazy I am on these cards, but look, see, this is a section where I believe I took things out and put them in the book that I'm currently using. But yeah, this is another card on minutes and how I'm breaking out like, okay, at 4 a.m., there's 1,200 minutes until midnight. Like, who does this? This is so weird. But look, it's really helpful that I know this. And it's not like I'm trying to lock up all 1,200 minutes. I have done that before. Like I said, Thanksgivings, I'm probably utilizing at least about 1,100 of the minutes. But for the most part, it's like it's good for me to know that, like, hey, it's 12 o'clock and you feel like you haven't gotten anything done yet. Well, guess what? There's still 720 minutes left that you can do something with. Or, it's 3 p.m. and nothing went the way that you planned it. Guess what? You got 540 minutes left in the day that you can still do something. Okay, so then I have here, this is fun, daily focus areas. This is probably when I really started to get I don't know, serious about like, hey, look, you need to be focused on these things at these times of the day. Or not even these times of the day, but like these are the things that need my attention on a daily basis, right? Um and then and then the opposite. It's like this is how you let the day take you. Mindless scrolling, watching TV, uh energy wasting activity, playing game, things like that. Don't let the day take you. Take control of your resources and faculties. Aim at impactful action. This is so funny. Okay. Obviously, errands and adulting, cleaning and organizing, laundry, storage unit, disinfect everything, mop and vacuum, makeup brushes, self care, Meal preps. Oh, I was big. We still are. We're super big on meal preps. At this point, we pretty much have such a boring like routine with it that I don't even really have to write it down anymore because we make the same stuff over and over. But at this particular time, and I mean, look, we switch things up from time to time. Like, hey, let's try to make this instead, and I'll put it on a card first. But yeah, this is so funny to look back on because some of these things established habits that now I don't even have to track it. So this is really funny. Fitness early AM. This is probably when I decided that like I think it's best if I work out in the mornings. And that worked out well for me. Um, yeah, and I know it's so funny because I'm looking at the decorations and things, and I think this was part of the time that things got a little bit more challenging. But I was, trying to stay in a positive mood, and that's what stickers help me with. I love this sticker right here. I think this is from the Happy Planner line, but in fact, all of these probably are. But I love using stickers, and then I love to come back and look at it, and I don't look at this often. I haven't seen this in quite some time actually. Like I saw it and I realized I wanted to share it, but when I was looking at it often, it was helpful for me to have these colors and the stickers, and this is me breaking down the different quadrants of the day. So before when I told you that there's 1,000 minutes of the day, and I have one in here that has the actual minutes. I actually break it down into like 3 hour blocks and I call it different quadrant numbers. And so this is probably me. Oh yeah, this is a year later. So this is when I picked this up again. Okay, I see. I know what this is. Yeah. At one point I got really crazy with these cards and I started this is when we first brought our baby back from the hospital. And I was like, "Oh, there's so many things I have to remember, like how to pump and to feed and to make sure that the baby, is okay and that he's drinking milk and that he's getting tummy time." And I started to write these cards out. And my husband allowed me to do this, which I'm so grateful for him because I had us on like such a strict schedule. And I was like, okay, this is what we need to do for quadrant six. I wonder if there's any under here. Let me just see. This is so funny that I'm doing this because I don't even know what's on these cards. Um, but like when we first got back from the hospital, I was so like I wasn't scared, but there was just so much stuff to remember to do. And then I still need to make time to like learn more stuff about like, okay, these are the things that the baby is gonna go through. So I'll start with this is so funny that I have this because I didn't even realize that I had this in there. I thought this was just from 2024, but I think this is probably when. It was at this point that I ended up making another book like this because I had a completely different like level of focus at that point, right? New baby, we were just about to like move into our house. Like there's a lot going on. Not at this particular time. At this particular time, I was on parental leave and I was trying to figure out how to get through the day. Okay. That's what this comes from. And I just remember thinking like I gotta just take it one block at a time, one time block at a time. So I would wake up and like pump and then try to make sure that if I missed anything from the night before or the quadrant before that I didn't miss it. There were so many doctor's appointments that we had in the beginning. Like I said, I was trying to make sure we were staying on feeding schedule that I had like one thing that it sounds crazy, but when you first bring a baby home from the hospital and you have all these things you're supposed to do, like feed the baby, pump, make sure they get tummy time, make sure that at that point I had medication I was taking too. It was like all of these things that I just didn't want to forget. And then, it was so funny because like sometimes I would forget, like, oh my God, I haven't showered today, right? At that point, I was like, okay, no, this is not going to happen. So I used to use these cards and I'll be like, okay, this is the perfect time to shower. And then the whole thing with the pumping schedule versus the feeding the baby is like you don't want to it was a lot. Look, we're not here to talk about that, but it was a lot to try to manage as a new parent, and this was extremely helpful for me. And then we have you know, um, just different things you have to do around the house, like make sure that the house is getting clean, make sure that that you're eating. That was another thing we were forgetting, right? We were forgetting to eat ourselves because it was like we're feeding the baby, but like, did we eat today? Did we eat lunch? So it was like, it was like, but luckily our what do you call it? Our community, our family helped us out at that point, and they gave us frozen, like they did a meal train. That's what it's called. Oh, okay. So that was fun. Memory lane, guys. But yeah, this is the kind of weird stuff that I would write down at that time. But this is not what I do now. But when I needed it, it was very useful because then I didn't have to think about, another benefit of doing it this way is that I didn't have to think about what I had to do later. I just needed to focus on what I needed to do right then in this 3 hour block, right? It's like, okay, it's not 7 p.m. yet. It's only, 3:45. So what do I need to do between now and 6? And that's really what this was good for because it's like just focus on what you're doing right now. Don't focus on the entire day because that's when it gets really overwhelming. Then I made notes. And I had this project that I was doing. I could see where I was trying to get some stuff done. Okay. And then this is when I think I fell out of this book because I started a new book. So I was just trying some things out, but yeah, at that point I had moved into either another system, or I'm pretty sure that that's when I created the book that I'm now in. Um, which lets me know that it's probably time for me to do a whole entire new book because yeah, we're here now. And yeah, okay, here there I am. Guys, thank you. Thank you for indulging me. But yeah, it makes me realize that I probably need to start all the way over and do an entirely new book. And when I do that, I'll take one photo book that's empty, and then I will, create sort of like the priorities of my life right now. I'll create cards for those, and I'll start with that. And then I'll get some of those, card stock sheets, and I'll just start putting stuff in there like, okay, I definitely want to focus on this. I want to focus on this, more of this. And just whatever it is that I want to hold in my mind, I'll make index cards for them and I'll put them in there. And then I will go back and look at my previous book and pull whatever I think goes into this current book. But it's funny because I hadn't looked at that in a long time, so that was really fun for me too. But that was from 2024. I'm currently operating in a couple of systems, but um, for these purposes, like I am operating in a system that's very similar to this, but it's more streamlined. This one was kind of like I wouldn't say it's all over the place, but the one that I'm working in now is more like direct, and it's more dedicated to like what exactly I'm working on all the time. Like so like this seems to have like a lot of commonplacey sort of thoughts of like, oh yeah, this is, now it's like it's a scripture, it's a quote, or it's a task, or it's something that like, hey, don't forget this mindset. Um but I guess it's kind of like the same. But there were some things in here that I just looking at it, I knew that I was experimenting with it and I wasn't sure if it was going to work. But that's how you figure out if something's going to work. You experiment. So yeah, so that was my index card system. I hope you enjoyed it. If I get brave enough and if enough of you guys comment and ask, maybe I'll flip through the one that I'm currently working through, or maybe, I'll do a new one. But that's just one of the systems I work in. I literally have a whole separate system for work that serves me so well. So glad about that. Um, but so this is just my life book that I just showed you. And and it's pretty outdated. So the one that I'm using now is a little bit more streamlined. But yeah, hope you enjoyed that. I hope that somehow helped you or informed you about how maybe you want to incorporate some of those things into your own system. I definitely am such a um just like a cheerleader for index cards. I feel like index cards are the answer to a lot of the problems that I used to have specifically. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that. I'll be back soon. I know that I'm supposed to be doing a check-in soon. I've been doing my check-ins um like myself. I haven't been filming them. I used to come on and do like my 10-day check-ins live. But I haven't been doing that recently. It's just life has been lifing. Um but yeah, so I have one of those coming up probably sometime next week. Um, and yeah, so I look forward to seeing you guys then. Until then, y'all be safe and enjoy your day. Make a great day. All right, bye.